Saturday is a rugby day, and those words continue to ring true through the capital city. We have a fantastic matchup ahead of you here today, as is the Battle of I-35. The Dallas Reds traveling down to Austin, Texas to take on the Austin Huns elite squad, coming at you next. Welcome back, folks, as we have a fantastic game of pro rugby on our hands here today. It is the Battle of I-35, as the Dallas Reds have traversed that said interstate to come on down to Texas, Austin, Texas, that is, to take on the Austin Huns elite squad. Thank you for tuning in with us. I'm the Smash Justin Simmons, alongside my good friend Tim Wilkes. And Tim, well, the Huns, they had a tremendous game last week, a real nail-biter, but they have won 2 straight games, and they are looking to defend their home turf again here today.
Yeah, last week was a big step in the right direction for them, defeating Ombach. But here today, they have another tough challenge as they face last year's Red River Conference champions, the Dallas Reds, who are perennial visitors to the national tournament, a spot that the Austin Huns tremendously want to be. So, again, this will be the first step today. We'll see if they can take it and make their mark here in the Red River Conference.
Yeah, we saw Dallas walk in with a little swagger here today, a little pep in their step, if you will. They're a very confident bunch. Let's take a look at the keys that will lead to Dallas' success today.
Well, they're really going to want to dominate with their forwards, especially with a little bit of rain out here today, but they've got over 25 pounds per person in that pack, so they're really going to be using those forwards to try and dominate and control the match. And on the other end, sure tackling is going to be the key for them because the Austin Huns had many line breaks last week, so that initial precise tackling is going to be a big key for the Reds.
Well, let's take a look at the home team real quick.
The Austin Huns, as the game wears on, they're going to really want to get the ball out wide, use their great endurance that they showed last week, and use that team speed on the wings to really be able to bust through. And then also controlling the scrums. Like I said, they don't have the bigger pack out here, but they're really going to have to be a level as a group, and they're really going to have to use that coaching that Coach Eloff has imparted on them to really be able to make sure that they handle those scrums.
Yeah, it's a tough unit, and they preach unity. Talking about some star players here, one of the biggest is Johnny Herron here for the Dallas Reds.
He'll be playing lock. He's their captain, 6'8", been with the club for 3 or 4 years now. Last week, he was their team MVP, as again, that pack was able to dominate Houston United rugby team. And so we'll see if he can flex his muscles here today.
Well, whereas Herron is a veteran of the D1 programs here, what about this kid, though? He has been nothing short of phenomenal.
Hanko Hermesice just signed with the club a few weeks ago, but already made a huge impact last week, as we saw. Had a try, had a few excellent line breaks, and can really impart his muscle out there today.
Yeah, 3-time collegiate All-American. Huns versus Reds. Kickoff coming at you here shortly. Co-signing.
wish.
Welcome back, folks. You see that close-up shot of Jody Reyes as we get ready for kickoff here. That's the Austin Huns dressed in the sky blue and white with the black shorts. This one has to go past the 10 meters line, and we have kickoff here today. The Huns almost controlled this opening, and we have our first penalty of the day.
Yeah, Mason Pedersen had an excellent opportunity to catch that ball, knocked it forward, and so we'll have a restart here for the Reds.
Well, we went over it in the pregame. This is what we came to see. That forward pack for Dallas has a huge advantage per person.
That's right. They definitely exerted their dominance last week against Hurt. So the Huns did a decent job last week. They didn't really get pushed around too much, but they're going to really have to use that technical ability to be able to settle things here.
And you can see we come to a stalemate here. And folks, we understand that there's a lot of new people tuning in, inquiring about this sport. So we will try to explain to you the best we can when something goes astray. It might not make much sense to you. And for the rugby purists out there, I promise we'll use as much of the terminology as possible.
Looked like the one of the flankers released early off of that scrum. You must stay in until that ball comes out. Looks like one of them released a little bit too early.
And they're going to try to kick this one towards touch. But it looks to be fielded nicely by the Huns.
Excellent grab on the sideline, taking it back into the middle.
This is Dion Minar, and look at that as he rips through a couple of would-be tacklers. And this is where the ruck forms, and they get it out quickly already. Said they wanted to get it out wide, Tim.
Yeah, that time, though, the Reds pushed up well and able to smother Reyes before he could even make a pass.
You love it when the big boys get the ball. That's Pedersen. Already has one cap with the U.S. Eagles. A lot of talent on this squad, as you saw the captain, Lamani Tongo Tongo. The Huns have something going here. This is Hermeshuis. And Hermeshuis with support. And the Huns really making some meters here.
Earned the penalty that time. Not rolling out by the Reds. So we'll see if they, if the Huns decide to kick for touch here or take the early points. No.
And let's take a look at this replay. We talked about him in the pregame. Hanko Hermeshuis just bowling over would-be tacklers.
Last week he was able to do much of the same thing, and last week he was able to actually take one in from about the 40-meter line all the way in for a try.
Interesting to see here, Tim, that they didn't settle for the points. Instead, they went for the advantage of the field position.
Well, we saw the same thing last week. They really, were really trying to get those 5 points, trying to take the lead, or take the lead with some big points early.
Austin did very well with its lineouts last week, and that worked out nicely too. Moore has it in his hands. HP looking to touch it down, and we have our very first try of the afternoon, and it comes by way of Matt HP Moore.
Man, beautiful pass there in the line out from David LeMasters, the hooker, right on point, and a little tap down, and a beautiful run in for the try by Matt Moore.
I was hoping to get those starting lineups for you, but LeMasters making a start here today. As we see this replay, beautiful throw by LeMasters on that lineup, but that little tap in, just nicely executed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was beautifully done. You don't always have to bring it down if you don't want to. You can tap it right down to that next player coming on to it, and he hit it with a burst of speed, able to break 2 tackles and get himself the try.
Okay, so for the rugby newbies out there, try is worth 5 points.
That's
this conversion.
Right. 2 if he can make it. We'll see. And it's brought out exactly where the try was dotted down.
Perpendicular.
Exactly. Brought it straight out.
This kick sailing right through those uprights. Referees say it's good. And the Austin Huns, the elite, have the early 7-0 lead here against the Dallas Reds. And more importantly, if you are new to the sport, guess what? It's make it, take it.
That's right. They're going to look to do the same thing again. It was really well. I mean, it all came off of that first knock-on off of the kickoff. It's just how important those small things are. I mean, one little thing like that can turn the change or completely change the game. So we'll see if they can be a little more sure-handed than the Reds were on that initial one.
So even though the Reds, this is how rugby works, the Reds get scored upon and they have to kick it off. It has to travel past the 10-meter line. As you see, nice teamwork there to get the man up in the air. And the Huns look to establish that ruck.
It's a beautiful take. And the Huns look to kick it back, gain a little possession here.
This one going all the way to the fullback, and they're just going to try to put it back into Huns territory here as it's fielded nicely. And let's see if they can work the face outside. This is Hanko.
On a bit of an island out there, but smartly takes it back into his team.
Smart play, though. That's where he had the help. Now they have it with the forward pack. This is Pedersen again. Quick play, almost knocked on. Ooh, and that's going to be a tackle above that neck area, but did they call the knock?
Did not see anything on that one, but definitely a high tackle trying to bring it down. New laws this year, more severe penalties for some of those high tackles, but
you see it's in the hands of Jody Reyes here.
And
that's a big guy to get off of him.
Big John Holman just couldn't get low enough.
Yeah, Holman listed at 6'9" on our roster. This one's fielded nicely by the Reds, and they are able to get back some of that real estate as they keep the ball in movement here. And now this is their first real ruck of the contest as we look to start out this phase, and they're going to try to kick it upfield.
Found a nice opening, landed the ball in the field of play. So that one will be a line out to the Huns, but definitely a good little change of field position there for the Reds.
Here's a large field to contend with here. You see the line out getting set. There's that little hash line. That's the 5-meter line. It can't be set before that. It has to be set at that mark, and you can only extend it to the second hash that you see there. That's a really good look by the camera crew there. Nice job in the truck.
Went to the back last time. Let's see if they mix it up a little here.
Oh, they're going to go short, and that was well executed. Reed, the hero, and look, this is Hanko. Hanko with lots of room.
He's got a man on his left.
Hanko with the fend. Hanko offloads the pass, and the Huns have it at that 5-meter line with Pedersen. The ruck has formed. Huns thinking, try once again. Reyes with it, trying to push his way in. He finally goes to ground. The ruck will form.
And they earn a penalty right at the goal line. They go quick tap.
They give it to Hanko. He is denied at the doorstep here, but the ruck battles and wins the ball back. They hand this one to Rui Diori Branco, who is stopped just centimeters short of the try line. He's trying to keep it inside. Did he dot it down this time? The referee overhead. Ooh,
no,
and the referee said no.
So close there. Just got to make sure you put make sure you put pressure on the ball and actually touch it to the ground. And that time just couldn't get it there. It was held up. And another nice save there by the Reds.
Yeah, you see here Tim Fitzgerald, the big prop man, trying to muscle his way in, and he does get over the try line, but as Tim was explaining, you have to have control and pressure on that ball, and it actually physically has to touch the ground in order for the score to count. This will be a scrum to Austin, though, right at that 5-meter line, and it will be Michael Reed who feeds the ball in. Referee not happy with the way that the scrum was forming.
Boys are in good hands out there today.
But look at the size difference.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but like I said, it's not always about size and weight. I mean, if you've got the right positioning, you've got the right coaching and a nice stable level base, you can do wonders out there. Very
true. Fans of the game of rugby know about the Argentinian Pumas team, and they're not the biggest squad, but they have great technique, and they win a lot of stuff with their forward pack. Well taken by the Huns. They get this one back to Reed. Trying to get to the outside. They get this to their fullback, and he was a late starter here today. Andrew Heller says hello. Another try for the Austin Huns. And I think Dallas might be a little shocked. We're not even 10 minutes into this 40-minute first half, and the Huns already lead this contest 12-0.
They are keeping their foot on that gas pedal. And again, a set up by Hermes Weiss. Big run to get them in this position, but here's the finish.
The Huns taking advantage of the penalty. Great phase passing as they linked up the play very nicely. And then it was just simple, elementary, as Andrew Heller dots it down for the try. This is also going to lead to a very easy kick here.
Straight from in front of the posts here. Last one was true. Let's see if they're able to do the same. Martin Nutsy looks to put it through.
Nutsy should have not the easiest of kicks considering the distance, but made it look easy, that's for sure. I never want to be the person to take those kicks. But the Huns convert, and now they have the 14-0 lead. against the Dallas Reds in this I-35 rivalry. Right now, it's not looking like much of a rivalry. The Huns just running up and down the field at will, and more importantly, it looks like their scrum is more than holding its own.
Well, I mean, when we talked to the Dallas Reds coach earlier before the match, Reese Ball, he explained that, they weren't going to probably do too much kicking. They're really going to try and use those forwards. But what we've seen so far, both times they've really had possession. They've kicked it away, and the Huns just straight running right through the Reds at the moment.
Oh, this one lost on the restart. And now Dallas looking to see if they can use this good field position. They'll keep it with their forward pack. As is with the prop here as their ruck will form. They have, again, some really big fellas in there. And now ripping right through the ruck was Brian Wellborn, the youngster.
We didn't see a whole lot of counter-rucking too often from the Huns last week, but they were really trying to get in there, got a little too aggressive, and the Reds earned the penalty.
Let's take a look at this. Like I mentioned right here, the youngster Brian Wellborn, he goes right after the captain and Johnny Herron. Trying to send a message here early, I think.
Yeah, he came in from the side that time. Once that ruck is formed, you must come straight through the back of the ruck. If you try to come in from the side, obviously it's a little easier, but the penalty was called there as you must come straight through the middle. And
it's like literally that teammate of yours is a wall of defense, and you have to go through the wall in order to get to the ball carrier.
Exactly.
All right, so this is going to be a line out for Dallas. As you see, their hooker here trying to get the play in. They're going to go to the middle, and it works out nicely for them. Heron, the lock, actually able to win. Now they're trying to form a maul. As you see, they're trying to feed that ball back. And again, just like a ruck, you have to go through the front here. Dallas trying to use their weight advantage here, and it's working out to very nicely as they're looking to try that find that end zone.
Looks like they broke off, though. Ball's presented, so we'll play on.
It's picked up and sent off to their fly half. They're trying to get this one out wide. The tackle will be missed by the Huns. Another tackle slipped, and this is a good run by Dallas. The ruck has now formed. Will the referee say hands in the ruck? I think that might be the call as they look to restart it here quickly.
Now, they were playing advantage that time. The Reds have the opportunity to try and progress down the field. They didn't make it very far, so the referee, Phil Ackroyd, brought them back for the restart at the penalty there.
Oh, this ball just right at that try line. Did they get in?
Penalty to the Reds. Looked like the Huns that time off of their feet. When you're in that ruck, you must stay on your feet. You can't cover up that ball. Dove straight down on top of it and really killed the play. What Phil Ackroyd is looking for out there is a quick ball, that ball to be presented, and get it back out of that ruck fast. If you dive over it, you kill it. That's where the penalty was earned.
You have to allow a restart in play, and you have to clear that space. And then, like you mentioned, no diving in. That will get called every time. And it looks like they're going to try to take the points here with a kick.
That's right. Down big early, but, I mean, got to get something out of this. Last time they tried to go for we saw the driving maul on that last one. Worked out pretty well for them. I guarantee you that won't be the last time we see that today.
Yeah, well, it seemed like that was a real momentum changer, though, in favor of the Huns because they were able to win that scrum. And it kind of set the standard for the Huns here today. As this will be Blake Bolton. He has a difficult angle to try to kick this one through, but he is successful. So the Dallas Reds get their first points of the day off of the penalty kick of 3 points as it goes through the uprights. As Blake Bolton you see there on your screen, but the Huns still lead this contest 14-3.
We've got a long ways to go, though, here, so those three are definitely key. You want to get on the board. You want to get some momentum back your way, which they've done here.
It is a drizzly day here in the capital city. It might have a little something to do with some of the missed tackles we have seen here early on in this contest.
Reyes with the deep kick that time, and the Reds decide to respond. Kicking it out. Actually, excellent kick. Gets them some good relief there.
Well, we definitely know where that ball landed as it landed right on top of our canopy here in the booth.
Huns has been successful on their first couple lineouts so far.
Yeah, we've already seen them go short. We've seen them go long. They go short on this one. All right, now they have a chance to get some wide open play here on the outside. They give it to Honko one more time, and you see him just barreling through 3 Dallas Red players.
Yeah, you'll see him getting out there with the backs all day long. They love his line breaking abilities on some of those smaller backs for the Reds.
And this ball popped up, and it looks like this is going to be a penalty against Dallas.
Oh, knock on there. Just lost it forward in the tackle. Looked like it was picked up by another teammate. But anytime you throw that ball forwards or it pops forwards.
You saw Lamani Tongo trying to calm down his team, the captain. Oh, that's where it was. Yeah, Reyes knocked it on with his left hand and went forward, and that's where the call was made.
Like
I think he was arguing that he didn't drop it, though.
Yeah, well, it looked like it might have been Tongo. They were trying to get him on a bit of a switch there as he was moving on to the outside, but it was just a little late of a pass, and so not on point and a knock on here.
Again, this is a great look at the size difference between the forward pack, especially the front line, the first 3 that you see in that scrum. Your 2 props and the hooker.
Yeah, you usually don't see a 6'9" prop out there, but this guy, Big John Holman, is 360 pounds, and I promise you, they feel every bit of that weight in these scrums.
You can just imagine it crunching on your neck and shoulder area as he tightens up on you.
Early drive that time by the Huns. You got to wait until that ball comes in. They did not, so Phil Ackroyd calls the penalty here for the Reds.
Dallas just got some points off of that kick. Now they're trying to build some momentum. That's Heron who will send it long.
Beautiful kick there for a big guy. Does not get it out, though, and the Huns will look to counter.
Heller will send it down the far side touchline. Oh, that one's knocked on. And the Huns bench, you heard the claps as they were excited about that. That will give the ball in good field position for the Huns as we get closer to that 20-minute mark, as we have already played 16 minutes of this contest. Here you see it on the outside, trying to get fancy with that pass, like a little touch pass.
Yeah, just a little miscommunication there.
And they just were not ready for it. Nice shot of the bench there. Some of those guys will be coming into the contest later on. They are allowed 8 subs per team. But a lot of the times you would like to have your starting 11 out there for the full 80 if possible.
Yeah, when we were talking with the Reds coach Ball earlier, he had mentioned, it's not about, those first 40 minutes. The true test of endurance is going to be those last 40, those last 20.
Actually, both coaches made sentiments to that. Tongo, short pass. This pass out wide, but it takes a good bounce for the Austin Huns. Justin Hale with it, but it's an awesome tackle made by the Dallas Reds. Huns with the ball in great field position, though.
Excellent look that time by the scrum half.
Yeah,
good choice not to make that pass.
Yeah, Reed held up by the interior of that Dallas defense. The Huns electing to go to the weak side. Nice run pulled off here by the... And then Nutsy getting just shellacked on the side, but able to keep control of the ball. They get this to Pedersen. And now the ruck trying to form here.
Not rolling away hands in the ruck that time. So once that ruck is formed, not only do you have to stay on your feet, you have to just drive through. Once you are part of that ruck, you cannot touch that ball and move it back towards your team. Rez tried to get a little cheeky in the ruck there. Did not pay off, though, as even though they're right in front of the post, Huns look to kick it out and go for the 5 points.
I was just about to ask you, with your playing knowledge, what would you have done in this juncture of the game, just because you're just on the outside? Looks like you could take the easy 3, get the ball back, and try to reestablish your momentum, but instead they want the full 5. Well, they're trying to send the message to the Reds.
I think so. They're really just trying to keep their foot on the gas pedal, but to me, he had just made a kick. The last conversion was from that exact same spot, but let's see if they're able to convert it here.
LeMasters will have another good throw on the line out. And this is Honko. Honko gets off at 1. Honko gets hit hard, though.
They've got numbers out wide if they spin it.
Reed gets it out wide. This is Tongo. Just brushing off people. But he was intercepted at the very last second. And Dallas, again, survives. So
Kelly Kohlberg was in good position that time to get that one out of there. Make that saving tackle.
So the Huns, they roll the die on that one, and they come up a little short.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a great job really getting that ball wide. Tongo Tongo took it in strong, even though he had a couple of guys outside there, but big hit that time.
Yeah, luckily Tongo Tongo was kind of able to just get a piece of it as he was slipping down. It looked like it kind of hit more the Reds teammate more than Honko himself. But this will be a a lineup for the Austin Huns. And again, they win on the lineup. They have been just spectacular on this phase of the game here to this afternoon.
The Reds are able to steal it away. Excellent take that time by Chris Hopkins. That ball must be released by the ball carrier, and he was able to take it away.
Oh, this is the big fella that we talked about here earlier. You saw he tried to get fancy with that pass.
Ended up going just a little bit forward that time, though. Tried the little behind the back, but again, it's tough to gauge, you know, when you're trying to throw those out there. You're just trying to do anything you can to not go out of bounds, but just a little unlucky that time.
Here's the big 6'9" John Holman. You see him. Look at that, trying to get. That's what I love about this game is the creativity that you can have at any position, but just again, that ball just going a little too far forward for the referee's liking. And this will be a scrum to the Huns here as we have just hit the 20th minute mark, now the 21st minute mark in this game. Huns up 14-3. We want to thank you again for tuning in with us here today.
Some great strength from the Huns that time. Doing really well. I'm very impressed so far with those scrums. They're able to hold their own thus far.
The ball taking a weird bounce off of the kick, and the referee, is he going to call the knock on?
Well, it was knocked on, and then it was played from an offside position. So one player knocked it on. One of his teammates was in front of him, picked up the ball, and so it was a penalty here to the Reds.
So the Reds trying to make use of this field position. The Huns bending but not breaking so far in this first half.
Well, really, we haven't seen a whole lot of possession from the Reds other than that one time they got it inside the 22. But back in there now. We'll see if they can make something happen.
But you have to wonder the fact that the Reds were able to deny Austin right now on their last go-around at this side of the field. They were able to deny him on the doorstep at the try line. That might give them some momentum as they're going forward, and now maybe that can build their forward pack going.
Exactly. They're really going to have to rely on that defense here today, as we've seen the Huns' incredible line-breaking abilities. So they're really going to have to hold strong, and we've seen a couple defensive stands there by the Reds thus far. But definitely won't be the last time they'll have to do that.
John Paul Rodriguez, the hooker for the Dallas Reds. He will be throwing this in. Get a good shot of Rodriguez. They're going to go to the middle. Not contested by the Huns as they look to go with their defense here. This one, the offload, and they barely get it, but it works out to their liking for the Reds. They keep this face moving as he comes to the near side, and the ball is loose. Picked up by the Reds. And good tackle by the Huns as they keep the Reds at bay here.
That was a big hit by Andrew Miller that time. The fullback stepped up into the line and took his player back a few meters.
Kohlberg gets tackled down, and the Huns, they're able to win back possession. Honko out wide. This is Pierce Reed.
A little bit errant on the pass that time.
But it doesn't matter because Lamani Tongo says, I got your back. Gets the ball near midfield. Huns had advantages, now over. You get this to HP Moore. Moore, the lock with some great speed. Lets the ball go, and then it's jumped on by the Huns, and the ball is going to go back to the Reds.
So when you get tackled, you got to place that ball backwards. His momentum that time, when he tried to place it, his momentum was going forwards, was able to take that ball forward a little bit. So calling the knock on.
You have a player shaken up here in Lucas Beerson. Beerson, the one making the tackle.
Yeah, Beerson was able to just get his hand in there and dislodge the ball as they were going to the deck.
There you get a close-up look of the captain of the Austin Huns, the New Zealand native Lomani Money Tongo. A big fella with a big motor. I would not want to be in his way.
No, that guy was a bruiser last week, had the big try himself, and really exerting his force out there so far as well.
Well, we'll have the scrum right in front of us here on the near side touchline. Beerson is okay. He stays in this game for the Dallas Reds.
Tongo only 5'11", but 245 pounds of just straight muscle out there.
Yeah, Tongo might be 5'11", but he hits you like he's 6'8". And the Huns getting a great push as the scrum loses its form. Dallas, though, able to keep control of the ball. Good tackle by Reyes.
As long as they're able to get that ball out cleanly, the referee will let that play.
And Honko is extremely peeved there.
Not rolling away was the penalty call.
He's a young kid. This is a lot of fire, though. Usually very cool, calm, and collective. But Honko felt wronged by the referee's call.
Bit of a glare there at the referee. As you see, he's at the bottom of that ruck.
Yeah,
holds onto the ball, and yeah, definitely a penalty there. Referee Phil Ackroyd, national panel, does the biggest matches.
I was going to say, you're going to have to explain national panel.
So he is, so you've got your B panel, he is the A panel. So he gets selected for some of the biggest matches around, national championships, big tournaments like that. He's the guy they bring in. And so for a lot of these D1 matches, they bring in the best.
Well, professional rugby in Austin has been a dream for many, and it's so great to see it come to fruition. I know Richard Osborne has a big hand in it, and you know, the stands that we see out here today, rightfully so, that this is a big match, this I-35 rivalry. And like we mentioned in the pregame, you could just feel the electricity when we got out here to the Huns pitch, because it is just amazing what they're doing here.
Yeah, the weather keeping a few people away today, but last week it was a packed house, and they did a great job of just, you know, really enforcing that atmosphere and making it a great place to come out and watch rugby here on Nixon Lane in Austin.
Don't worry, folks. If you couldn't make it out here today, you will get another chance on February 28th. It is the Austin Derby, as the Huns will be taking on the Austin Blacks. And I'm guaranteeing you want to be out here live for that match if you can make it.
Now, the stands there will be completely packed. We'll have fans all over the field. And that was, that was a yearly thing before we, you know, they've really upgraded the facility with the stands and everything. So it's going to be a great sight to see, and a true can't miss if you're in Austin.
This is the fullback Heller, as the Huns get the ball back, and they continue to try to protect this 14-3 lead. As we getting closer to the end of this first half, we almost have about 13 minutes left to go. Let's take a look at some of the starting lineup here for the Dallas Reds. Why don't you run through them for us here, Tim?
We got Big John Holman, John Paul Rodriguez, and Chris Hopkins on the front row, Vincent Chase and Johnny Big Red Heron as the locks.
The captain.
Correct. Colin Urian, Chad Joseph, and Dale Russ are the back row, and then we've got Peter Santos at the halfback, at the scrum half, and then Blake Booten, Kelly Kohlberg at one wing, Spencer Cameron at the other, and at the centers, Lucas Burson and Inoke Bulai, and then in the rear, Jake Campy is their fullback for the Reds.
Lamani Tongo issued a yellow card.
You can see Phil Ackroyd was getting a little bit, getting under his skin a little bit with the aggression that some of the Huns are showing.
Let's take a look at when that actually transpired here. So Tongo looks like he's on the bottom of that pile, and he has the ball.
So it's the third time we've seen that exact same penalty, and a lot of times referees will issue cards and stuff to keep them from doing those same things over and over.
So the referee just trying to set the tone. Talking about referees, very interesting in the game of rugby. You're used to probably seeing players talk back to the referees and treat them with some disdain. In rugby, it's the complete opposite. It's a gentleman's sport, and the referee is treated basically like a king.
The referee is called sir, and it's extremely important to have a really smart, calm captain out there, because he's the guy that's going to be talking to that referee. He's the guy that's going to be trying to control their team and working hand in hand to make sure things don't get too crazy out there.
John Paul Rodriguez with the pick and go, but it's ripped away by the Dallas Huns and Matt Moore. What a big play by H.P. Moore.
But after that, though, was taken in. That ball was not coming out. Maul was called, and at that point, when the maul was called and you're up on your feet, once it comes down, that ball has to be presentable. The Reds did a good job of getting their hands on it and tying it up.
Let's see right here. You see Moore rip the ball away at the last second from John Paul Rodriguez, who looked like he was going to dot it down for a Dallas try. But the Huns deny him, but the penalty going against Dallas. So the scrum will go to the Dallas Reds right here on that 5-meter line, correct?
Yes, sir. So
right.
after that maul, again, it was not presentable. It was tied up in there. So the restart will be a scrum to the Dallas Reds.
It was a good feed off of that scrum. Very easy for Dallas to win it back, but let's see what they can do with it. Their fly half in control. The ruck is now formed, and you can see the bodies. This game getting very chippy here.
Excellent tackle on the outside and good fringing defense.
This defense tightening up for the Huns. The scrum half with nowhere to go. It was a great tackle by Jody Reyes. And again, it looks like hands in the ruck, or we are awaiting the call from the ref. Honko, the vice captain, as you see, chatting with referee Ackroyd.
Wants to have a chat with Brian Wellborn as well. So
referee is very kind to give us a speaker here as another yellow card has been issued to the Huns.
Not rolling away. The same thing we've seen over and over again. And we'll check it out on this one.
Okay, so I'm going to have Tim explain this to you folks, but you have to allow play to flow, and that means that you have to roll away when the ball is down.
Exactly. So on that one, Brian Wellborn was just a little slow getting out there. He made the tackle. He was on the ground, but he was on the red side of that ruck and just didn't do a good enough job of getting out of there. I mean, as a referee, as long as they're showing the effort and really trying to get out of the way, a lot of times they'll let that go. But again, this is the 4th or 5th time that call has been made, and so he's got to do something. They're not listening, and so that second yellow card presented to the Huns. They're down to 13 men, and this could be a huge swing in momentum, even with the 11-point lead here for the Huns.
Now, those players can return at a later time, but it's going to be about 10 minutes as they sit in what is known as the sin bin.
And it could be at least one of those.
Holman trying to see if he can get the points needed for the for the Reds. And as you see, the Huns tackle him in the try zone, but they tackle him laying on his back, so he's not able to get the ball to touch down.
Excellent defense again. Huns are really doing a good job of holding that line, keeping them out as best they can, but that is a big man to stop.
Yeah, he has the power of a locomotive, and I am not making that up. As you see, Holman, he unfortunately fell on his side. He needed to have fallen forward so he could have dot the ball down for the score. So that, I think, one of the beautiful things, the nuances about the game of rugby is that even though they are in scoring territory, you really have to work to get the ball physically down on the ground for the points to count. Let's take a look at the Huns real quick. I know there was a couple of changes made last second. But, Tim, why don't you
Front row, Tim Fitzgerald, David LeMasters, the 20-year-old Stony Point product, and then Mason Pedersen rounding out that front row. Rui Diori Bronco and Brian Wellborn of the Locks. Back rows, Matt Moore, Hanko Hermesweiss, and Dion Minar at 8.
This is a big scrum coming up here for the Dallas Reds. They have the man advantage, the two-man advantage, I should say. And now that they have the ball at the end of that scrum, the scrum starts to get turned, and they're going to try to go here on the near side. The offload pass finds the 8-man, and he's pushed into touch at the last second. Does he touch the ball down, though?
No, sir. Does not look like it. Flag went up there on the side.
And let's take a look at the replay here. You see him. He is stretching out, trying to get the ball across the try line. They hit the flag on the way out. And it looks like he was just wrapped up very well on the tackle.
Again, excellent defense. They did a good job. Even though the Reds tried to go on to the weak side that time, they did a good job fringing out to the ends and were able to just barely keep them out. And how many times now have we seen that you must touch that down? They were just unable that time. A bit of an injury here.
We definitely have a knock here on the shoulder to the scrum half, Michael Reed. And if he can't continue, that's a big blow for Coach Lofty and his Austin Huns side. This will be a line out, and it's going to be knocked on by the Reds. So how unfortunate was that?
Huge opportunity for him that time as that ball just sailed over the top of everybody's heads. All they had to do was pick that one up and stroll into the try zone, but knocked forward, couldn't handle it. Again, a bit of that slight drizzle coming into play out here.
Kyle Breitenbach has entered the game for Michael Reed. So it looks like Reed's day is going to be done. This is a scrum to the Huns, but they are on the wrong side of the pitch, if you will.
And Reed was a huge part of that win last week as he had that last try to give the Huns the victory.
Smart
but they
play, too.
Won't have his abilities out there today.
Yeah, at the very dying embers of the match, right at that 5-meter line, he decided to take that quick penalty, and it was the right move that led to that win against Ombach.
It's a smart play. We'll see if Breitenbach will be able to show off his skills out there as well. Reds tried to take it quick on that last line out, but as long as that ball touches somebody on the sideline, as long as it's not, it must be taken cleanly for them to be able to do the quick throw in. So we'll have a setup line out here in favor of the Reds.
Rodriguez to send it in. They're going to go, they fake the middle. No, they're going to go to Heron, and that one's going to fall again. And it's going to fall in the hands of Dallas.
Chad Joseph able to scoop that one up and see what the Reds can do here.
As you can see, they're trying to get this to the outside, but more there on the tackle. Trying to work it to the outside again on that far side touchline. Nice pass there as it was offloaded. And another offload pass as Dallas is able to keep this one alive so far. Stripped and taken away by the Huns. What a great play made.
Like David Lemasters with the steal there.
And this is a smart move. What a kick. And this one's going to go right into touch. What a way to eat up that real estate. And the Huns hustle down there. Are they going to try to go for the quick throw? The quick throw.
Well, no, it's going to be Reds throw in here since it was kicked out. But excellent kick that time. You must make sure that when you're in front of the 22, when you have to make sure that ball lands in the field of play, which it did, and the Huns are able to steal it against the head.
The Huns lineout has been nothing short of magnificent here today as they steal it away. Breitenbach, though, losing the ball in the scrum. And for once, this is going to go in favor of the Huns.
Looked like a lack of support that time from the Huns, but when the Reds tried to pick up that ball, instead of securing the ball, he just kind of fell over the top of it. There's a fine line there between, killing the ball and falling on top of it and actually scooping it up and presenting it back to your team.
As you get a close-up look of Kyle Breitenbach, who has come into this contest for Michael Reed. He is the new scrum half. That's this one sent into touch. So it will be Reds ball.
But again, it just goes to show you the size doesn't really matter. I mean, it takes all shapes and sizes out there. Breitenbach looks like he may be under 5 feet, and you got guys at 6'9" out there, but they are all in the same field competing together because it takes every bit of skill that you have to play this game.
Well, they get it out to Honko. He gets right back up and continues his drive, and he has the support to carry through. Breitenbach. He'll start this one short to Reyes. Reyes breaks the first tackle, and the ruck forms, and there's that ball. It pops loose again, but does it pop loose enough for the Huns to stay with it? Yes, it does. This is phase 3.
Nice
Fitzgerald, great throw, even bigger hit laid upon by Dallas. Breitenbach trying to get to the ball, and
penalty awarded to the Huns.
yeah, it was Chris Hopkins who kept on trying to bull on through that ruck, but it looked like he went through the side.
Oh, and Ackroyd going to the cards.
This will be the first card presented to the Reds. And this is the captain here, John Heron, who's speaking with the referee. And you see him pointing to his head. He was trying to tell Hopkins that he has to play smart.
Side entry on the ruck, the call that time. And so off the field goes Chris Shrek Hopkins.
As you see, he's getting a little chippy out there. And as you can tell, he doesn't go through the middle. He went through the right side. It was just a little bit, but that was enough to get the call. Surprised I actually knew what happened that time.
So basically has to go over the player. The players that are on the ground, that's what forms the ruck. So if you're coming in from the side, that's the penalty. And we'll see if the Huns can capitalize here. They again choose to go for the line out off of the penalty. They have the option of a quick tap, a scrum, or point or a kick, scrum, or points, and they chose to kick for touch.
Well, with the last, this is probably going to be the last phases of the game right here as we get closer and closer to that 40th minute. This will be a line out for the Huns.
Ackroyd wants to talk to the captain, Tonga Tongo, a little bit more here.
And the Huns are still working now only with a one-man disadvantage because it's now 14 Reds players against 13 Huns players. All those guys sitting in the sin bin and not next to each other, I can tell you that much.
It would be huge to get a short-handed try here if they can pull it off.
To get this to Honko on the line out. It looks like they're going to just try to maul this one in. No, instead it breaks loose. Flanker's still with it. Actually, that was the 8-man. Pedersen picks it up. Huns still with it. They trying to let that ball loose. It is at the back of that ruck. Referee said leave it. We heard that from all the way over here. Apparently, Vinny Chase did not, and he picked up the ball, and that looks like it's going to cause some issues for the Reds.
Yeah, Phil Ackroyd out there, he just wants the guys to listen to him, and they're not at the moment. And we'll see if he pulls out another card here, having a chat with Big Red Heron, and we'll see who they pulled over and present this to.
You can see Heron not agreeing with this call. Oh, and things are going to get evened up here as we have another yellow presented to the Reds. So now it's 13 on 13. Neither team at full strength, but now we are at even strength.
Exactly. There was already a penalty being issued there. Referee told them to leave the ball there, and sure enough, as we'll see here, they dove in and messed with it one last time.
Well, the referee was saying leave the ball, leave it, and instead those instructions were completely ignored, blatantly.
Didn't see exactly what the yellow card for Heron there was for, but it could have just been, I mean, as a captain, it's your job to make sure that your team is listening and understands the referee and what he wants out there. And at times, the captain can be penalized just for his team not doing what they're supposed to.
Huns trying to get a score here in the dying embers of this first half. It's a great scrum as they have control right on that 5-meter line. Let's see what they got going on here with their backs. Reed trying to get in. He is met right a shade over that 5-meter line. They get it out to Honko. Pure power, pure speed. Does he have the finish? No, he's going to be stopped short. Honko, they let the ball go.
Jake Compey with an excellent tackle there, stayed with it and brought Honko to the ground.
Almost lost it on the offload pass. The Huns able to reconvene on the ball. Honko playing the advantage. Honko, pure power, pure speed, pure Honko. Another try for the youngster.
Out of nothing, too. That play was blown up. There was an offsides call.
And you take a look at the
Bouget
enjoying his time in the VIP section and even enjoying the Honko score even more.
That's right, a true excellent try that time by Honko. As we watch the replay, offsides the call there, was knocked back and fell right into the hands of Honko, and he knows what to do with that from that point.
Just like Moses parting the Red Sea, he goes right in between those two would-be Dallas Red tacklers and finds the try zone and dots it down for the score. Honko, Hermesize, makes it 19-3. Austin Huns on top here. And they still have a chance at this conversion, but again, the kick is taken perpendicular to where you score past the 22-meter line. So this is a difficult angle for Martin Nutzi.
Converted on both of his kicks previously, but this one definitely the toughest of the three.
Well, the drizzle and the wind has died down here at the Huns pitch, but these points would be huge, and it will be off the mark and short. But the Austin Huns will take it as they have a comfortable 19-3 lead against a much bigger forward pack Dallas Red squad.
It's a huge surprise so far. Really expected this to be a tight match, but it's the Huns and just their sheer force and will pounding that ball through the lines and getting in great field position and really not allowing the Reds to do what we thought, which was going to be exert their dominance with the pack, lots of pick and goes, lots of short drives, and that hasn't been what we've seen out here. Is they've tried to kick it away a lot and haven't been able to do much with it.
Yeah, the Huns are able to negate the Dallas Red attacks. As we take a look at some of the highlights to the end of the first half here, the Huns. And they started off hot. They were able to weather the storm early, and then they came back and got the final try of the first half. So the Huns, 19-3, your lead at halftime here from Austin, Texas.
Today is the day I step up to the plate. I choose the right way, a harder way. Not for who I am now, but for who I will become. Rep by rep, I will conquer my pain. Step by step, I will push myself further, faster. I see where I want to go. I can feel my victory, and I know I can, and I will be more today than yesterday. So challenge yourself and keep pushing.
I wished I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me, and weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
At the YMCA, you can exercise your heart in more ways than one. Because you're building more than muscle. You're strengthening the whole community. So stretch yourself in more ways than one. Join the YMCA in January and pay no joiner's fee. For more than a workout, for a better us, visit joinymcatoday.org.
Today is the day I step up to the plate. I choose the right way, a harder way. Not for who I am now, but for who I will become. Rep by rep, I will conquer my pain. Step by step, I will push myself further, faster. I see where I want to go. I can feel my victory, and I know I can, and I will be more today than yesterday. So challenge yourself and keep pushing.
At the YMCA, you can exercise your heart in more ways than one. Because you're building more than muscle. You're strengthening the whole community. So stretch yourself in more ways than one. Join the YMCA in January and pay no joiner's fee. For more than a workout, for a better us, visit joinymcatoday.org.
I wished I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me, and weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
Welcome back, folks. You get a sweet look at the VIP section out here at the Huns pitch. We are live in the capital city as the Austin Huns currently have the 19-3 lead over the Dallas Reds in this I-35 rivalry. And we had a fantastic first half, and everything for the Huns that could go right has pretty much gone right for them, Tim.
Yeah, they've done a great job again, those line breaks. As we see here,
This is the first.
excellent try there by Matt Moore, taking that one off of the line out, and really just things just working exactly how they hoped.
They were able to get the penalty in the scrum here, and then some nice pass play to the outside. A last-minute fill-in here for the injured Zinzan Ellen Puddock. Andrew Heller coming in, wearing the 15 today and getting his first try of the afternoon.
That was a well-worked skip pass out to him, and then here, the last try we just saw, Hanko Hermesweiss able to dot that one down. It was a bit of a cluster there. The ball came out kind of off, but it fell right into his hands, and like I said, he knows what to do with it from there.
A kid like Hanko, it doesn't matter. He'll make his own way. 19-3 is your score here at halftime in this I-35 rivalry. The Huns on top. We'll be back with your second half. We hope that you join us. Co-sign.
It's back, so come out for more fast-paced, hard-hitting international rugby action. The USA national team, the Eagles, returned to Dell Diamond on Saturday, February 11th to take on Brazil for the 2017 America's Rugby Championship. Get your tickets now at usarugby.org.
Welcome back, folks. They say Saturday is a rugby day as we get ready for our second half of the fantastic sport, professional rugby here in Austin. As the D1 side from Dallas, the Dallas Reds will kick off to the Austin Huns Elite. Huns going from left to right, and that's not the way to start off your first half, as it will be knocked on by Kyle Brentenbach, who came in a little about midway through that first half for the starting scrum half, Michael Reed.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten a good feel of what we're going to see out here from Brittenbach. Michael Reed was just super consistent out there, not many mistakes last game or so far in this first half, but he went out with a shoulder injury, and we see that coming costly here as Brittenbach was just unable to secure that high ball. Bit of a confusion. They got to communicate a little bit better to know who's going to cover that area.
Now, Tim, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I'm quite curious. We are here in the very start of the second half of play. We saw 4 players, 2 from each team, get sent to the sin bin. Have they been able to return to the field to play yet.
There may be, I think the Reds are, both of their guys, I believe, we're still going to have a couple more minutes off. The Huns will be at full strength, I hear, in the next couple of minutes, as those were earlier in the first half.
As you see, welcome back to the broadcast, folks. Justin Simmons alongside Tim Wilkes. As we go back to the action here, we have the scrum to Dallas. And then the scrum taken over by the Huns as it was wheeled away, but it will be a penalty against the Huns. And Honko wondering why.
So basically they do call it wheeling there. They call it boring through the middle that time, as you have to – they'll let it wheel, but they want to make sure it's moving forward before it's not just turning on its own like a top.
Yeah, and you're always thinking about trying to prevent injuries. As you saw, John Paul Rodriguez, he's a little shaken up, especially with those knees. So important, and trying to fit in your head in between, these grown, huge men's shoulders. That scrum, it's rather safe, but there's a reason why you try to keep it safe.
No, we've both been there. Is when that thing comes down, you don't know how your arms are over on the sides of players. You're getting bent all sorts of ways. So hopefully he'll be able to shake that one off, and we'll see if the Reds can convert here. This would be some quick points added to it, and would be a huge boost for them.
Yeah, Dallas in desperate need of some more points here, as they are down 19-3 and haven't had much momentum to speak of on the day. This will be the fly half. Blake Bolton. And it looked to be a rather easy kick, and he is able to convert.
So just like we saw in the first half, the very first kickoff of the match, quick knock-on sets up the opposing team for an easy points.
19-6 now is your score. The Huns actually start off the scoring in the first half. The Reds now starting off the scoring in the second. However, the Huns scoring tries where the Reds are only scoring off of kick conversions.
Yeah, we have not seen the Reds be able to, force their way into the try zone thus far. Actually, they made it in a couple times, but both times it was held up. And so the Huns doing a great job keeping them out.
Jody Reyes getting the start at fly half here today. Will kick things off, and it's fielded cleanly by the Reds. Tackled by Wellborn, who is now back into the match after serving his time in the sin bin.
Nice
as
take
he received a yellow card earlier.
Colin Urian of the Reds.
The Reds trying to make the Huns play from the back.
Excellent kick, finding space, backing him up even further.
Well, he thought about kicking it. Instead, he's going to go right into the heart of the defense, and the Huns will start the ruck from there. Rodriguez gets his big claws on the Huns runner.
Yeah, LeMasters couldn't escape that time.
Kicked away by Reyes, and it's a nice kick as it has a lot of air underneath it. Fielded well, though, by Spencer Cameron, as they had a late switch between the 14 and the 11 here today for Dallas.
And again, more kicking here in the first 5 minutes that we've seen through most of the first half. As back and forth it goes.
That was an excellent tackle by Blake Bolton. The backs, if you will, not usually known for their tackling prowess.
See the Reds players with their hands up, making sure that they're not caught offsides. It was a good kick that time. Keeps the pressure on the Huns here, though, with the ball inside their own 40-meter line.
That was a lot of fast-paced back-and-forth action between these two teams, and especially here in the second half, you have to believe that stamina is going to play a factor in this contest.
And to tell you the truth, we've both been there. I mean, as a big guy out there on the field, you don't want to see a whole lot of kickings. That just means you're running back and forth, and can really tire them out. So we'll see if either one of these squads decide to settle things down here as we move forward.
Yeah, one of the things that hasn't been called too much is offsides in this match. They're going to say the line out was directed towards the Austin Huns.
Not straight, the call.
And it has to be straight down that gap, if you will, that line, that imaginary line that's in between both teams.
And so we see Chris Shrek Hopkins back on the pitch now, returning from the sin bin. Just one Reds player still out. And incorrectly, it was actually Vincent Chase, the other lock, not Johnny Herron, that was yellow carded there in the first half. So the only player still out, again, is Vincent Chase. So still 14 men on the pitch for the Reds.
Okay, so Austin, the Huns have the one-man advantage right now then. 15 men to 14 for the Dallas Reds, and they still have the 19-6 lead here in the second half. We want to thank you for spending part of your Saturday afternoon with us as the field conditions have gotten much nicer out here. Still chilly, but at least the rain and the wind has died down, as that was Wellborn who has re-entered the contest out of the sin bin. Honko loses it and is kicked away rather smartly by the Huns.
Nice broken tackle.
You would have liked to have seen that run continue if you're a Dallas Reds fan. Instead, the Huns kicking it back out of harm's way, but it looks like this penalty will bring it back.
Nice back and forth that time. Looks like the Reds were going to be able to march down the field again, but excellent steal. Gets the Huns the ball back, and that time lots of, just the ball all over the place, but the Huns able to secure the scrum here.
Well, Tim, if this game continues on at the pace that it's going, you have to believe it favors a team like the Huns, who are a little bit smaller and arguably might be in a little bit better shape.
Well, they definitely were able to show their good endurance last week against Ombach. Ombach is an excellent squad who competes in the Cal Cup and has been a great team out there, and they were able to turn it on there at the end and come in with a game-winning try in the waning moments of the match.
Yeah, Old Mission Bay Athletic Club, 7-time previously national champions.
Good hands by Honko Hermischweiss that time. Grabs it from the toes.
Andrew Heller able to stay inbounds, away from that touchline. They're just going to keep this with Aaron Boren, and they lose it to the Huns. Dallas trying to make some meters now as he tried to get back on side. Wrapped up and brought down. That was Jody Reyes on the tackle. This one's going to pop loose.
Almost hits the referee that time, but Aykroyd able to dodge it.
Hard meters earned by the Dallas Reds on this phase as they look to get something going here.
Yeah, as we progress here in the second half, we've seen more and more knock-ons.
Honko has his hands on the ball here in the middle of the ruck. What is the referee going to call?
Calls not releasing by the Reds. So basically once that ball...
Oh, and things are getting chippy. Really personal here in the second half. And like we mentioned before, this is an I-35 rivalry, rivalry being the key term in that sentence.
Well, the Reds are the Red River Conference champions last year. They know that they need to, this isn't a position they've been in very often. And the Huns are just keep fighting, and they've done a great job thus far.
You can say that they might have tested their mini muscles last week in that 99-point win that they had. But here, you see this little physicality tie-up, and that's just boiling over between Aaron Bone and the number 11 here actually is Spencer Cameron.
Substitution in here on this one. Hal Struckman onto the field. Looks like the sin bin was taken out there. Vincent Chase did not come back on, and it's now Hal Struckman as the other lock for the Reds.
Well, a lot of ruggers normally have nicknames, but Hal just goes by Hal, and there's a good reason why, and it's because of his pedigree.
Oh, big Hal, man. He plays for the Classics, the over 35 USA Eagles team. He's been doing that for years and played with him a couple of times, and he is just a beast out there. We'll see if he can have an impact on this match.
Well, that was almost a big impact for the Reds, but Jody Reyes there to clean up the mess, if you would say. Heller able to get it off of the ground. He's still on his feet. He has support with him, and what a quick ruck formed by the Huns. Great offense there.
Need to slow this down a little bit. Too many mistakes, too much, trying to get a little too fancy with a lot of these passes. Just need to keep taking it in and try and work their magic here.
The Reds would be called offsides there.
Don't know if advantage was called on that one or not, though. Looks like they're going to continue to play on, and a quick little box kick out of there.
Renton Bach trying to use the left foot, and now the Reds will try to clear it out. It will bounce inbounds, and it remains in play as it hasn't gone outside that touchline. What will the Huns do now? Nutsy kicks it short, and the Reds have it right outside their 22, now inside the 22. They're moving towards that 5-meter line, and they're looking for their first try of the afternoon. And they desperately need it.
Out wide. But good defense, good fringe defense by the Huns.
Yeah, Pierce Reed there with the crushing tackle. This one going to the lock, and he's held up nicely by this Huns defense. Advantage has been played. There's Big Hal Textbook tackle applied by Brian Wellborn, the youngster, getting a piece of the veteran and taking him to school.
That's where you got to tackle him. Got to hit them low, those big guys, and that was beautifully done.
You want to talk about safe, legal, and precise tackling, that's how you do it. Put that head on the outside shoulder, wrap up, and drive through. As getting up with a little knock was Peter Santos.
We had an advantage being played there off of a knock-on previously by the Huns in one of those earlier rucks.
We'll take a look at it on the replay here. We talked about that pure tackling. Well, both the youngsters, Pedersen got a piece of the old veteran and Hal.
Got to be careful not to drive him to the deck, but referee felt that it was safe enough and would play on. And again, Reds were unable to secure the advantage off of that, so we play back for the previous knock-on here, the scrum to the Reds.
This is where we thought the Reds would have the advantage on the day. The 8-man with the ball, trying to get into that try zone. He's denied by Pierce Reed and by Dion Menard. Huns bending but not breaking. You see Hermesice getting ready to get on the action. Another tackle by Wellborn. Santos gets it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez is a low to bring down at around 280 in that short 5'8" squat stature. But the Huns once again hold him up, and it's a penalty against Dallas.
Well, they're going to say it was held up. They're going to have a scrum here to the Huns.
But it's going to take place on this 5-meter line, right? So not out of danger just yet.
No, again, great defense by the Huns. They are not allowing the try, still making a great effort out there thus far.
And we do have a one-man advantage for the Huns right now. Is there, or have we returned to full strength?
Yeah, when Hal Struckman came on, he replaced the number 4. So both teams at full strength at the moment.
Brenton Buck feeds it in, and now that scrum is wheeling, it's picked up, and it's just on the outside of that try line. Still nowhere to go, but the ruck has formed. They're trying to go with a quick pick and go. Did that work? And it did.
Try awarded by Phil Ackroyd, and the Reds finally get across for the Big 5.
The Reds desperately seeking the try zone, and they finally get what they needed to get here this afternoon. Let's take a look at the replay here. You see that scrum just getting wheeled out of the way. And then the 8-man.
Dale Russ couldn't quite get it over. And then the quick pick and drive. I believe it was Hal Struckman that time.
It looked like Big Hal.
Couldn't quite see who was able to snag that and take it over for the try.
Well, in any event, the Reds able to take advantage.
Looks like it could have been Colin Urian there.
Of their forward pack and winning that scrum rather handily, and with that wheel out, it worked to their advantage.
Oh, that scrum was beautifully taken there by the Reds. It's the first time we've actually seen them drive through, and they did an excellent job taken there by the 8-man in the back. He almost got in himself, but almost.
Oh, we see some fans from up in Dallas making the drive down I-35 for this I-35 rivalry, enjoying a beverage, having a good time. As this kick will be converted. So those were big points to add on to that try. And the Huns, well, they see their lead diminish a little bit here in the second half. And the Reds definitely within striking distance now. Huns still ahead, though, 19-13 as we enter the 55th minute.
So earlier today, the D2 sides took battle here at Nixon Lane, and it was the Dallas Reds second side that was able to secure the victory. We'll see if the first team can come from behind and get another one for the boys from D-Town.
The Huns have to kick things off, and that was a great 2-man tackle by the boys in sky blue and white. The ruck has formed and it will belong to Dallas, though. Going in and missing the tackle was Heller, or excuse me, that was Bone.
They tried to sling it back there to Booten for the kick, but excellent hard charging there by the Huns. It's going to stay in.
The Huns look like they're going to just go ahead and run with this one. Gets past one man. He's not down just yet until he's actually tackled.
Knocked on in the ruck that time by the Reds, so advantage to the Huns.
Monty Tongo offloads the pass. Still with it are the Huns. Nutsy
Advantage is over.
Ruck has formed, though. This ball needs to come loose, and it looks like the Reds have stole it in the ruck.
Hands in the ruck, though. Again, the call.
And the Huns player is down. It looks like Nutsy. And I can tell with that heavily bandaged knee that it is.
It was a hard collision in there. He tried to go low.
And you can tell that he is definitely shaken up, and he is in quite some pain. It is a physical game. It is, Tim.
Definitely, definitely. You know, I mean, it's mostly a safe game out there, but I mean, so many body parts flying around and stuff.
He makes a
looked like
nice
that time-
sidestep, but right there, laying on that last hit on the way down was the number 14, and that's Kelly Kohlberg today, and just added a little oomph with that exclamation point. As we know, we saw how things have gotten in this second half. Players already kind of going at each other, grabbing a lot of jersey, a lot of face-to-face, but the hitting is still there.
So safety, the big key out here today for these guys, and so I don't know if we're going to see much more action here from Nutsy or not.
We'll see you here again on this angle. Yeah, it looks like he took a knee right into either that thigh or stomach area as they are bringing out, and possibly the nose.
Also, when it came in for when
Try to knock the ball loose.
Yeah, they tried to knock the ball loose. Kelly Kohlberg came in with that arm, may have gotten him a little bit, and then he may have also landed on him then with the knee as they came to the deck.
Yeah, we saw something happen similar to Thomas Gilliaman last weekend, where he took a knock to the face that forced him out of the game. And that's why you have Jody Reyes, who has been playing phenomenal here this week in the starting 15 for the Huns.
So big decision here for the Huns once they're able to sort the injury out here, though, is what do you do at this point? Do you go for the 3, or do you try what they've been doing all game and kick it out into touch and go for the line out and try to go for the 5?
Well, Nutsy's up, and he's getting a well-deserved round of applause from the crowd here at Huns Pitch live in the capital city of Austin, Texas, on what is usually a beautiful city, but a little gloomy here today. But any day that there is rugby is always a great day.
So Nutsy able to shake that one off. They do have a bit of a concussion protocol out here. You know, if he looks dazed in any way or doesn't look like he's able to return, they'll pull him off and they'll have somebody in for him. But not the case, as he's going to stay out there. And the Huns do decide to go for the 5. They have a line out here just outside the 5-meter line, trying to punch it in for their first points of the second half.
Well, even for the casual viewer out there, I think the reputation of rugby players precedes them, and you know that they are tough. Probably some of the toughest men walking this earth.
But you can't.
And that's also for the ladies, too, that play this game.
Definitely. This one knocked backwards towards the Reds.
So the line out not working out in favor of the Huns. We've seen them try to do this many times this afternoon, try to take it to that forward pack. They had been successful in the first half, not so much in the second.
Yeah, we were talking with Coach Reese Ball of the Reds. He said you'd be surprised that their biggest guys are actually some of their more fit athletes out there as well.
It looks like that that move to bring in Big Hal has really paid off for the Reds. It seems like he has energized them just enough. But the Huns trying to keep the Reds at bay in this I-35 rivalry, 19-13, as we get closer to the 58th minute of this 80-minute game. I'm the Smash, Justin Simmons, alongside me, Tim Wilkes, and we are so ecstatic to be with you here live in Austin, Texas for this contest.
So it's been a big change from the first half. In the first half, we saw the first 5 lineouts that the Huns had were able to be successfully taken. The last 2 we've seen here were turned over. A huge opportunity, but the Huns are able to secure it again.
Tim Fitzgerald able to win the ball off of the bounce. And now the ruck will form. Brandon Bach gets it out wide. Almost takes a knock. Justin Howell with it. And Hale tried to keep it inside without going into touch, and it looks like he was escorted out of play.
Referee having a chat with his AR. Sounds like a forward pass was made first. And so it looks like we're going to have a scrum down here. So before the line out occurred, we had a forward pass. So Scrum to the Reds.
Santos, the scrum half, will feed the ball in for the Dallas Reds, 19-13. It has been a game of two halves, literally. It was all Huns in the first, but Dallas coming back with a vengeance in the second.
It was a big try for them, getting things within 6 points now. But a long ways to go as we enter almost into the final 20 minutes of this match. This is where the endurance will really pay off.
Penalty to the Huns, and they'll take it on a quick restart as he tried to get it out wide. Tripped up is Reyes. He's hit from behind. And the phase will continue. Andrew Heller trying to find some space before he's tackled down. Brendenbach out wide. They get this one back to the big prop, Tim Fitzgerald. Reyes outside, Tongo. They're looking for Honko, and Honko finally getting, look at the power of Honko. Three of the biggest fellas on him, and he pushes right through.
Fans wanted a high tackle penalty that time, but the hand just kind of slipped over the top of him. No real intent there.
And now the hitting is starting to really rev up here. Brendan Buck, he gets it out to Pedersen, and Pedersen's met very difficultly by the number 10 of all people.
Huge drive back that time by Blake Booten.
Something you do not expect from a fly half, that is for sure.
On a prop.
Brendan Buck. Dallas pushing the Huns in the right direction if you're a Reds fan. Fitzgerald comes in and helps clear the ruck. Nice passing on the outside. Honko with it. Honko down, Honko back up. And the young gun continues to show why he is one of the best. LeMasters getting the start here today at hooker with it. He's trying to get that ball out as the ruck does form. Now the Huns have something going as they have had continual phases as Tongo with a great pass, and the passing continues.
Nice little inside offload by Tongo, able to gain a few more meters there. But again, just that those last couple phases there, got a little sloppy with it. Maybe just needed to take it to deck and kind of reform there, but the knock-on occurs, and so it'll be Reds scrum.
But it works out well for the Huns as well, as the Reds had to get back on the defensive and had to run at trying to make this tackles and tire them out. Here you see Tongo, nice offload pass there to Heller, who smartly gives it to Reyes. And on his way down, you could have argued that that might have been a high tackle instead, but that was not the call.
Yeah, at that point, you know, you're getting spun around. It's so tough to be accurate with those passes, so maybe it may have been a better decision just to take that one to deck that time by Reyes, but
and we talked about the big hit that this guy had made earlier on big Tim Fitzgerald, and this is the fly half, Blake Boulton.
It'd be a big loss if he wasn't able to continue.
Yeah, the 5'9", 180-pounder playing much bigger than what it says on his stat sheet. And I'm not sure if that was red Gatorade that's being served to him, but I definitely saw a stream of red come out of his mouth. It's a tough sport. We know that you're going to come in and you're going to not only initiate contact, you're going to take a lot of contact as well. And that's what makes these athletes so superb, is not only their physical strength, but the stamina to endure the punishment for 80-plus minutes.
Well, that and the skill. I mean, you're got these huge bodies out there just getting flung around, but you have to know your body positioning. You have to know where it is to be safe. And that's why we see over the country a lot of rugby coaches actually coming in and teaching football teams and things like that how to properly tackle, because they are able to, they've been doing it right for a long time.
You will see the scrum. This belongs to Dallas. Huns still have a 6-point advantage, but that can all evaporate with a try and a conversion for the Reds. And again, the big 8-man in Dale Russ. He bulls through about 3 Huns would-be tacklers. The ruck has formed, and the Huns rightfully go right through him.
No support that time by the Reds. One lone Red trying to fend off, and about 3 Huns just drove him over.
What was going on there? It seemed that somebody had a brain fart of sorts. Big hit by Tongo.
Well, I think that ball was placed here by Russ, but I think it was placed, and everybody thought that it was going to be just taken out and, brought back to the back line, but instead they tried to settle the ruck, and 1 man against 3 is never how you want it to happen.
This is not good for the Huns. That's Honko Hermesice. He is down. If he cannot continue, that's a huge loss for the Huns.
Oh, he's a tough guy. able to shake that one off here. The junior All-American, only with the club for a few weeks now, but again, he has really shown his skill with, I mean, a handful of line breaks last week. We've already seen the same here today. He is a tough guy to bring down with by one person.
So after trying to go toe-to-toe with the forward pack, it looks like the Huns will concede and just try to take the points here. Still not a gimme, though.
So the penalty was called there with hands in the ruck if they were driven over. But a miss, a rare miss from the middle of the pitch that time by Martin Nutsy. And so this will be the 22-meter dropout here for the Reds on the restart.
Yes, the curse of the commentator, I'm afraid. Like I said, it wasn't a gimme, and that's exactly what happened is he shanked it a little to the left.
And he had been very true with a lot of his kicks earlier on in the match, but not the case that time. As a deep restart here from the Reds.
Oh.
And a knock on by the Huns. And a penalty awarded because, again, the player that picked up the ball after the knock-on was in an offsides position, and that is a penalty because you're really killing the play at that point.
Double soup for the Reds, if you will, as they will get to feast on those two penalties of the Huns. And this is the big prop. Tim Fitzgerald doesn't have those sure hands, and if it bounced backwards, it would have been fine, but it bounced forward, and that's a completely different thing in the game of rugby.
Yeah, bounce forward, and at that point, that ball, there was an advantage for the Reds, and being picked up from an offsides position, just killing it, that then turns from a knock-on to a penalty.
The Reds really stifling the Huns here in this second half of play as they have been able to slow them down.
Yeah, advantage 7-3 thus far in the second half. Big Hal Struckman calls for the ball on the back row. Gets it out. We got hands on the ball there from the Huns, though. They release, and now the Reds roll off of it.
The big 6'9" John Holman with the ball as he is finally taken to ground.
So that time the maul was formed, and after a maul, that ball has to be presented. And at that point, there was some still contact. One of the Huns guys had it in there, able to turn the guy over on his side. Ball wasn't presented. Be a scrum to the Huns.
So the Huns needing to take advantage of this scrum. Well, you want to try to get the ball out and kick it long and try to get some field position back, or you want to try to work out of the phase here, Tim?
I think at this point we're 15 minutes in, or only 15 minutes left in the match. You want to get that ball out of your half of the field. You do not want to be playing around with it inside your 22, especially here in this far in the second half with the lead.
Well, the Huns able to win the scrum. We thought we were going to get the quick kick. Instead, Reyes is going to run with it, and he takes it right back to which it came from.
Kind of
now we have a dive. Lomani Tongo trying to make some room, and he's still on his feet. Tongo. Let's see, he gets through one tackler, but sure tackling by Del Russ brings him down.
See if they set it up here for the kick to get it away. Well done.
It takes an awkward bounce, but it's fielded nicely by the Reds, by the fullback. Good tackle by the Huns fullback in Heller. The ball right out in front of us now here on this near side try line, or excuse me, near side touch line, I should say.
Kick for space there.
Oh, it takes a Reds bounce. Big hit on the outside, but the ball still moving forward. This one awfully close to the 5-meter line, but Jody Reyes ended up with it. And now the Huns have possession. The ruck has formed, and they haven't cleared it out fast enough. Now it gets cleared. Tongo. He will kick it down the touchline, and it stays in play. The Reds knocking on the door here.
Oh, kick for space.
Honko's there. This one picked up by Brentonbuck. Benzenbuck gets it out to Pierce Reed. Reed, he needed to have made one more pass. Instead, it looks like it's going to be a high tackle.
Most definitely there. You have to keep those tackles below the shoulders. And it was just a little bit too much there. Inoki Belai came in and definitely clotheslined.
Here you will
Pierce
see
there.
Pierce Reed has some jets, but he's just taken down from across the shoulders by Inoki Belai, and he will be sent to the sin bin for his actions.
got to keep that down. He was anticipating. We could see Belai here from our view in the booth. He was eyeing him the whole time. Pierce Reed didn't even see him coming. And if he was able to make that tackle and maybe, knock that ball loose, that would be one thing. But he went a little too high. And now the Huns are going to be able to relieve this pressure as we're only 11 minutes left in the match.
Not only do they relieve the pressure, now they have the man advantage, as it will be 15 against 14.
Until basically the last minute. He'll be able to come back in after 10 minutes, so he may get 1 minute of action when he comes back in, but it's going to be a huge advantage in these last 10 minutes. If it wasn't already going to be tough enough for the Reds, they made it a little more difficult there.
They have made a rousing comeback in this second half, and they are really pushing with all their mights, but the Huns just doing just enough to stay ahead. Can that continue? As the throw-in will go long, it's tapped forward, and that should be a knock.
Yeah, Big John Holman came in there and was almost had it, but he just straight up knocked it across.
I mean, I'm impressed with Holman. I mean, the size that he's carrying, and to be in this match at the 70th minute mark, and he looks still fresh, like he can still run the full length of the field if he needed to.
Oh, he was moving nicely in there, but again, just off the fingertips. So the Huns will have to try again here with the restart, but again, another lineout that the Huns were not able to complete.
No, and they were so precise on their lineouts earlier in the first half, and then most importantly, when they beat Ombach last week, they were so crucial on those lineouts. They were picture perfect.
Beautiful
Get this outside
skip
to Reed. And Reed will lose it. It's picked up by the Reds, but he has little support, and they will continue with the fast play. The Reds trying to make something out of this. They do have one-man disadvantage, as it's 15-14. The fake pass to the outside. This is Russ, the 8-man. And Big John Holman, the ball pops loose.
Penalty called, though, by Aykroyd, the referee.
This is the twin brother of Brian Wellborn. That was Craig Wellborn, who is now in the contest, alongside Corey Mossman, who is now also entered for the Huns.
Tackler did not release the call that time. Again, once that ruck is once that tackle is made, the ball carrier has to release the ball, and the tackler has to release the ball carrier. And that did not happen that time. Just went straight in from the tackle and went after the ball. So the penalty called, and the Reds able to move a little closer.
They send it straight away into touch. This will be a line out to the Reds. John Paul Rodriguez will be doing the throwing duties. Santos outside. And this one will go right into the heart of the Huns defense, and it's a hard tackle met well.
So the Huns again with the one-man advantage, a huge pop that time.
Troy Spencer, welcome to the party. What a hit by Spencer.
So we'll see if the Reds continue to use their pack. The man they lost was their outside center, so that could prevent them from doing a lot of hands out to the far outside, but we'll see if they can continue to pound it in.
Great pass by Russ back onto the inside. Sure tackling, though, by the Huns.
It was almost taken away there. That one looked close.
Almost.
Aykroyd was right in position, though, lets him play on.
But David Lemaster is slipping all the way down and made the crucial tackle. Wellborn, that's Craig Wellborn with the tackle. This does not look good for the Huns, and then it's knocked out at the last second. Is that a knock?
That's the call there, a knock on. Just like he looked like he just lost control. Didn't look like there was anybody around him. Too much time and space to play with there as he knocks it on. But again, the scrum has been better here for the Reds, so maybe they can get it back. Oh, it was a little kick that time. Tried to pick it back up and knocked it forward.
And he knocked it with that left hand on the way down. We have a terrific referee named Referee Aykroyd, and he was right on top of the call.
He's done some of the top matches in the country for many years now, so we're in good hands out here, but it all comes down to the effort right now.
We got a different looking scrum for the Huns with the addition of some new players off the bench. We saw Craig Wellborn trying to test out that right shoulder. He's the lock, wearing the 19 today. He's been put into this match. Brentenbach feeds it in. And again, that scrum so dangerous for the Reds as it starts to wheel the Huns away.
So the scrum was initially for the Huns there. They were able to start driving forwards, and then the scrum turned. As soon as that scrum turns 90 degrees, that is a penalty, that is a infringement. So it will be a scrum now to the Reds. They were able to take that one away, and a big turnover here as they are inside the 22, down by 6, and looking to take the lead.
Yeah, not what you want to hear if you're an Austin Huns fan. This is a prime opportunity here for the Dallas Reds right on that 5-meter line. 5 meter away from potentially taking the lead, and that will not be the case. Quick restart off of the penalty for the Huns.
A free kick awarded that time. I don't know, early drive there. The call by Ackroyd.
Tongo loses it in the contact.
Lost it forward. Reds kind of hoping they were able to have an advantage and play with that one, but referee blew the whistle. And so we'll have a restart here. It will be Reds put in to the scrum.
So because of the knock-on from Tongo, we have a scrum. This time at around the 22-meter line. There's the close-up look of the captain of the Austin Huns squad. Just a beast of a guy.
Try scorer from last week.
Surprisingly nice off the pitch, but not a guy you want to run into on the pitch. Definitely, that is for sure.
250 pounds of muscle. Ooh, taken weak by the 8-man, but an excellent tackle by Moore.
Russ with that nice offload, but Santos runs right into the Huns tacklers. Huns defense set up, ready to go. A little pick-and-go action by the Reds. Yeah, you see that starting to form with their forward pack. They got some huge props. They got a big hooker, and they want to use that way to the advantage along with their captain, Johnny Herron. And the pick-and-go. That seems to be the mantra right now of the Reds.
Yeah, they don't want to lose possession. Just got to keep playing with it. Now they're going to spin it.
Trying to go outside. Sure-handed tackle made by the Huns.
Weren't many options there for Blake Bolton to deal with.
Herron takes it in to the Huns, and he's picked up literally off of his feet as the Huns doing this as a unit.
And again, it was a maul. Possession was for the Reds. They weren't able to present it after that maul went down. It was tied up. So well done there by the Huns.
You saw a look of disbelief on Herron's face as he was getting up off of that pile. What a great job by Troy Spencer, who initiated the contact, and then he got some help from his friends, Craig Wellborn on there, along with Corey Momsen, holding up play and getting the ball back for the Huns in this scrum.
Yeah, once that maul is called on the defensive end, you are just looking to grab that ball and hold on to it and don't let that up. And sure enough, they weren't able to present it, and so it'll be a turnover here. Should be a quick kick off of the scrum if you're the Huns. Try and relieve some pressure.
And remember, folks, the Huns have a one-man advantage right now as the Reds do have one player in the sin bin, and that will probably be the case until the very last moment of regular time in this contest. Brentenbach has it. He gets it out wide instead of kicking it to give it to Tongo. That's almost as good. Hermesweiss, he has it, and he is a load to bring down in his own right. The ruck has now formed. That plays well for the Huns. Now they get the kickoff. This one takes that bounce that it needs to on its way towards the touchline, but it will stay in play. Will that be enough to switch the field? It's a poor pass.
Be a kickoff. And it lands in touch, so that'll be brought back to where the kick was taken because it landed on the full out of bounds.
And when you say on the full, that means that it needs to take a bounce in play before it goes out of play, in this instance because of where it was kicked, correct, Tim?
Exactly. When you're in the middle of the field like that, you have to make sure that that ball makes contact in the middle of in the playing field before it goes out. Not the case there, so it's a line out back where the kick was taken, and the Huns are able to work the line out wonderfully this time.
Crucial, as they have been pretty porous on the line outside of the line. And this is Nutsy. He breaks through the initial line of defense with the fend. Get off of him. Makes the spin move. Still with the ball. And still with plenty of space. Finally passes it. Gets it to LeMasters, who gets it over the try line. The Austin Huns, when you thought they were done, they come roaring back. And they get a much-deserved try. What a phase. What a play by the Huns.
Wow. Martin Nutsy was able to break 3 or 4 tackles there, and big ones too, taking shots, spinning out of them, and then had the wherewithal to spin it back to LeMasters for the try.
Let's take a look at this sequence, Tim. Gets through that initial part of the defense.
2.
Poor tackle there.
3.
Spins
4.
off of the would-be tacklers there. gets behind his teammates, and then smartly passes it off. LeMasters able to drive through and do the rest of the dirty work to dot the try.
All you got to do is get over the ball has to do is touch that try line. He gets it across in for the 5 points, a crucial 5 points, which may allow the Huns to relax here a little bit in the last
David
couple minutes.
LeMasters getting the start here today for the injured Ram, and he has made the most of it. And then we have to talk about Nutsy. He was shaken up earlier in this contest. We wondered if he was going to be able to continue playing because of that protocol. He just looked shaken up, and he stayed in this match, and, man, has that paid off for the Huns.
Yeah, he was lucky that it was only a bloody nose there. Just got dinged on the face there, so no real concussion, and, man, has that paid off. Let's see if he can put this one back through for a couple more. Off the post.
It takes a ping off the post, so he misses his last 2 kick attempts off of the penalty and then off of this conversion. And you see that dried up blood next to that Austin Huns logo on his jersey.
And there's the try scorer, LeMasters, only 20 years old. The Stony Point Rock Rugby product has really been important for them today. After Brendan Rams was taken out of the match last week, we wondered if that could possibly be a weakness for the Huns. And he says, no, sir, as he makes the biggest try of the match here for the Huns.
We restart, but Dallas not done yet. Santos has it on this near side touchline, and Dallas can quickly score as we are in the dying embers of this game. The 80th minute, not sure how much time will be left.
There might be a little extra time, but at this point, if the time is already expired, even if they score a try, that'll be the end of the match.
Lamani Tongo with the tackle. And you can see the Huns looking to finish off this match. Hanko Hermsice. This one given to Big Hal, who loses it. Reyes with the ball. And it looks like he's going to go for an up and under. Surprising as this ball is still in play. Huns ahead, 24-13. We have passed the full-time limit, 80th minute.
There may be a little bit of extra time, hard to tell at this point, but they continue to play because at that point, if the time had fully expired, you would expect Reyes to be able to kick that one out and the game would be over, but we continue on here.
Yes, even when the full amount of time has expired, the play will continue until the ball is put out of play. Offload pass. We have a stoppage in play. Quick penalty taken by the Reds.
Hunslock was in the offsides position that time, playing the ball.
Santos. This one bowled through. That looked like it was Rodriguez. Lost and controlled by, I want to say this is Craig Wellborn, and it is.
Now at this point, you got to talk to the referee, see where you're at. They continue to go. Here's the kick.
To Nutsy, who will just send a long grubber, if you will.
He's trying to eat up time off that clock.
Also known as a squib kick on this side of the Atlantic. I believe that's Hanko Hermsice, and you see him trying to rip that ball loose. Okay, the Reds are back to full 15 status now, 15 on 15.
I've really been impressed by this Huns defense as he breaks away there, but that backline defense has not allowed the backline of the Reds much room to work.
Big Sean Holman, he's at that 5-meter line. You mentioned that defense. They continue to hold, but for how long? That was a high tackle by Wellborn.
Advantage for the Reds. So if they can't score here, they'll have a penalty for him, but no.
Not to be denied. And the Reds, Chad Joseph, able to get across the line and touch it down.
Just sheer effort that time. I mean, there's only so long you can hold out a squad like the Reds. I mean, just pounding it in. Big Red Heron there, able to take it in for majority of those meters, but was stopped short. But Reds are able to punch it through with a big try.
Exactly what you expect from your captain. You see it here, Santos. And he gets it outside to Chad Joseph, who is able to get off of Brentenbach and able to swing out of the tackle from Pierce Reed. And again, the kick is taken perpendicular to where it is scored, just a shade over the 22-meter line. I'm not very good at math, so you guys would have to do the conversions at home yourselves to find out exactly how far this is. but the angle is a difficult one.
Soon as the kicker approaches the ball, the Huns are able to charge the kick, and that'll do it.
Full time here, and what a nice 3-game winning streak that is for the Austin Huns. 24-18 as they defend their home turf yet again here at Huns Pitch.
Huge win. As we've said, the Dallas Reds are the reigning Red River Conference champions, and the Huns have just made a huge statement as they are able to take them out. And now the only big step in their way is going to be the Austin Blacks here in a couple of weeks. So you can't miss that match. Come on out and see us here in Nixon Lane.
Yeah, February 28th, the Austin Derby will be taking place. Austin Huns versus the Austin Blacks. But the I-35 rivalry belongs to the Austin Huns. We talked to the Reds before this contest. They said that they were used to big-time matches like this, but this was a different Austin Huns squad. And again, they showed it here today. 24-18, your final score. Austin Huns take home another victory.
It's back, so come out for more fast-paced, hard-hitting international rugby action. The USA national team, the Eagles, returned to Dell Diamond on Saturday, February 11th to take on Brazil for the 2017 America's Rugby Championship. Get your tickets now at usarugby.org.
I wished I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me, and weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
Co-signing? Oh, that was sexy. Folks, welcome back here at Huns Pitch, right off of Nixon Lane, located in the capital city of what is usually a beautiful Austin, Texas. Overcast here today, but it didn't even matter, as the Battle of I-35 goes in favor of the Austin Huns, 24-18. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Austin Huns. As you see, we have just played that game against the Reds. February 18th, they'll be going against the Austin Blacks. That is the Austin Derby. That is the big rivalry. You do not want to miss it. If you are in the area, try to come out here at 3:30 to Huns Pitch. Next, they'll be on the road. They'll take on the Glendale Raptors. Then they'll be back here against Detroit. Then they'll go on the road to go against NOLA. Then they'll have Harlequins from Dallas. Then against Utah in March and April. Then they'll be at the Reds, the team that they just beat here today on April 8th. April 15th, they'll have the Raptors here at Huntsfield, and then another meeting with the Blacks at their pitch, and then the season will finish out with NOLA here, and then on the road at Utah. And we have one of the star players of this game, And I am surprised that he is still walking in one piece right now, but it's because he is a much tougher man than I could ever imagine. Martin Nutsey. Martin, I'm glad that you can join us here on the post game.
Thank you for
So
having
happy
me.
to have you. What you took that knock earlier on in this contest. We were concerned if you would be able to continue on in this matchup. How were you able to play through that pain?
Oh, it's just a tough hit. It's just knocked the wind out of me and got a little bit of my nose. Had to take a few seconds, but then I was back.
Can you kind of take us through what was going through your mind when you had that ball in your hands? I don't know you as a pure runner, but you broke through that first line of defense. What happened after that?
Well, I broke through. Great pass by number 10. Great through the line. Just ran out of gas on the end. Luckily, I had support on my outside. Just a little dump off, and got to try to secure the win. Good stuff.
And not to mention, you were a little off of your kicks. That didn't seem to affect you later on in this game, though.
No. I mean, just got to keep going. Little mistakes will happen, but you just got to keep going. Keep playing through it.
As a team, it is a full team effort as well. I know that you're one of the standout players, but how do you think the rest of your team performed here today?
I mean, this is a tough team. I think they won the whole conference last season. So for us, all the few injuries, we had a few injuries today. A lot of boys just stepped up, and we got the win. That's all that matters on the end of the day.
Well, you're going to get a chance to celebrate this victory. You guys take home the I-35 rivalry. What do you guys have to do to be successful against the Austin Blacks in what is going to be a big derby match next in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I heard it was a big one. I've never played in it, but we'll be playing that in 2 weeks. So got a little bye week to coming up, rest the bodies up, and then 2 weeks be a big one. So come out and support, be a good one. Yeah.
Well, Martin, I want to thank you again for joining us here on the post-game show. We're going to take a little break here, and we will have that interview with Coach Eugene Eloff, a.k.a. Lofty, right after this.
I wished I could tell my daughter to go play outside, but every time she coughed or wheezed or suffered, it scared me, and weekly allergy shots were just as scary.
I used to start my day ready to take on the world, but every change in temperature or rain or wind triggered something in my head. Itchy, watery eyes, headaches. A buddy of mine said I had to go to Texan Allergy.
Drops from Texan Allergy are so easy, so simple.
Texan Allergy put the quality back in my quality time.
Texan Allergy, changing lives one drop at a time.
Co-signing? Oh, that was sexy.
Folks, we put the finishing touches on this game. Final score, the Huns taking care of the Reds in this I-35 rivalry, 24-18. And joining me here in the post game, the winning head coach, Coach Eloff. I don't ever want to use your first name, only your mom calls you that. But Coach Lofty, we talked to you during the pregame, and you had mentioned that your team is really going to have to play as one unit with a lot of love and a lot of trust, and that seems that's what happened at the end of this contest.
Yeah, I think a character and that sort of stuff show with defense, and we defended really well throughout the game. We defended too much. You know, if you defend that much, it takes a lot of energy out of a team. I thought we just tackled too much.
Coach, you guys were missing some key players coming into this contest. How do you think your reserve stepped up today?
Yeah, I think they did well. You know, the one danger thing is if you really rely on key players to win matches, you're in trouble. But it's always an opportunity to see the new talent that you have and the potential they have. I thought we made this game very long for ourselves and very difficult for ourselves. After scoring that 2 quick tries, the guys sort of thought this is an easy day, and they nearly got the surprise of their life by a team that played with a lot of spirit.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, actually. It was a game of 2 halves. That first half, you guys came out, completely dominated them, and we thought that their forward pack was going to be the key to their success. You guys nullified that at the beginning of this contest, but in the second half, it was a different story. What happened between the first half and the second half?
That, my friend, if I can, I can tell you. I think last week's match against Back had a bit of a fatigue, but it's no excuse. We have to be clinical and correct. Our keyword this week was actually to go back, to be more clinical, accurate, more consistent, which didn't happen. But it's every step that we take is a step that we improve. Maybe I'm getting impatient how I want it and when I want it, but the boys have shown a lot of character.
Coach, you are world renowned for your ability to scout talent and such, and so I always take what you say when you say a player that has performed good with the utmost respect. Who really stood out for you here today, performance-wise, for your squad?
Well, the no numbers like the Anku Garmasays, every time they play well, but I thought that a guy like Troy Spencer came on, he did well. Unfortunately, our halfback, we lost him early in the game. Michael, I rate big time. But hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have our full squad, and it changes the dynamic because the injured players that we have are in key positions, So, but take my hats off to the boys.
Well, Coach, one last question before we let you go. Talking about that upcoming derby match with Austin Blacks, I've been told not a lot of love lost between those 2 squads, and the stands here at Huns Pitch are probably going to be filled to the brim. How are you preparing your team for a match where it's one of those dangerous trap matches because you guys are going to go in on a 3-game winning streak against a very fiery side?
Yeah, I think I've heard about the history of the Blacks and the Huns, and I think it's always a healthy thing that there's good competition. I'm going to approach the match nothing different than we'll approach a match, tactically to play correct and to outsmart them. It's going to be a tough game because it's a derby, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the last game of the world. It's just another game that we have to play well. And if we execute well, we can win it.
Coach, I wish I could play for a coach like you. I wish I had that chance, but that's why you are the man, the myth, the legend. Coach Lofty, Coach Elof, I want to thank you again for joining us, and congratulations again on your victory. I know that you get a chance to go celebrate with your team and with all the fans that came out to watch and support.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to celebrate.
You're the only one that's tough here.
Yeah, well, I guess, any coach will always say he's not happy, but there's always room for improvement, but I'm very proud of the boys. They can go enjoy the evening.
Well, Coach, you do what you got to do then and get them ready. I guess we'll let the boys enjoy the victory here today, but thank you again for joining us here on the postgame.
Thanks very much, guys.
Coach Elof, as we show you some of the clips here yet again, as the Austin Huns take care of business in this I-35 rivalry. 24-18, your final score. For Tim Wilkes, I'm the Smash Justin Simmons. So happy to have you here with us today. Hope to see you here live next time.